Okay, good evening, guys. Can you all let me know if you all can hear me and see a screen? Let me know on the chat box. Yes, can see a screen. Yes, no. Others also, I'm hoping that you all can hear clearly. Right. Okay. So far it has been a nice couple of months, right? Since we have a few new faces here, guys, I'll give in a little bit of introduction as well. I'll take in around 10-15 minutes to give in a small introduction to the subject, to who I am, what we have been doing, right? What is happening over here. So I'll give in a small introduction. I'll take in, 10-15 minutes for that, right? And then we will start with our new chapter, that is unit number 2, right? So just to keep you all, guys, any update on when are you all getting your results? No, that was the saying that it was coming this month. No, this month isn't. There was a saying that it was coming by the end of October, but then I have no clue. I know it did not come. What are they saying now? When are they saying that the results are going to come? November 25th? End of November? 25th? Right. Okay. So I don't know. Hope you all might be a little excited, a little nervous also. It gets a little nervous actually, right? My sisters also have been they started becoming religious all of a sudden now, right? So, that happens, right? Oh, you all also know, are you all comparatively more religious these days with uh, results trying nearby? Yes, no? Try to do a little bit more good deeds compared to your normal times, yeah? Right. So that is natural, right? I'll not say anything because I was also like that. I remember, when results was nearing, you get a little bit nervous, you get a little bit, religious, and then you see, you try to, ask God for, give me this, give me that, right? So that happens. That's natural, guys. That's perfectly okay, right? So regardless of whether your results come or not, right? Most likely, yes, I'm also thinking that it would come by the end of November. But whether it comes or not, right? One thing that you all need to realize is your batch is already a little late, right? Now you all know usually O levels finish in December. Results come out by somewhere around in March, and we do start classes for your A level batch somewhere around in June, July, right? Now this is already October. Yes, we have started already. That's good news, right? But comparatively, now since I have been teaching for the past batches as well, comparatively, this batch is a little slow, right? So what should your plan be right now, right? In terms of your end, guys, now sometimes some of you all would have, already started school. You all would have started going. Now, most of you all are there waiting to change school. Guess how many of you all are on that list? Still not gone to school, waiting to change schools after results come? Because I was also someone like that, right? After O levels, I was also waiting for my results to come in so that I could change schools. I could go to a better one. No? Have you all started going to your normal school? No? Oh, are you all you're waiting to change, right? So there is a crowd like that as well, right? There is, a 50-50 crowd, right? Some people continue with their own school, some people continue, right? Some people wait until results come so that they could move on to a new school. It's there, guys. There are two different crowds. Now, what you need to understand is, right? Sometimes for those even who are waiting to, let's say change school, right? What happens is once results come and you would start applying, and it would take some time, guys. You just because results come the next day, you will not get a new school. You will have to apply, you will have to go for an interview, right? It takes at least, let's say, a month or two. And maybe the earliest you would start going is somewhere by around January. By that time, right, school also would have finished a certain part of the unit, right? They would have finished a certain part of the syllabus. They will not finish the entire thing, don't worry. But for a small part, they would have finished. So on your end, right, ideally, your option would be to catch it up through a class. But yes, your school teacher also will help you out. I'm not saying that they won't, right? But classes, regardless of whether your school results come or whatever happens, it keeps on going. So on our end, we have now done classes for around 3-4 months, and we have completed unit number 1, right? Unit number 1 is on Introduction to Economics. Now, some of you all might have an idea. Some of you all were already existing students. You all have an idea about unit number one, how it works, what is included. Now, there are some of you all, there is another crowd, right, who is starting classes from November, right? You all have now decided, right? It's high time that I also start coming for some class, that I also start learning something. So you all have, made in that decision and you all are starting in November, right? I have a few good news for you all, right? Number one is that unit number two has no connection with unit number one, right? So even if you have not learned unit number one, even if you don't know anything about unit number one, you can still understand unit number two because we are starting a different area here, right? So that is one good thing. So then some of you all will be wondering now how if I start classes from November, right? Will I be able to understand this subject, right? Because they have already done a few classes, right? Will I understand? Will it make sense? It will make sense, right? So today, once we do today's part, you will understand it makes sense, right? So don't take my word. At the end of today's class, you yourself will realize that. Number two is that now you will wonder, right? If you're starting newly, how do I catch up unit number one, right? What happens to that? So on that end, guys, what you can do is from my end, right? I will give you all, right? You can purchase the uh, unit number one, all the recordings and the tune. So then on your pace, you can watch those recordings, you can catch up, you have the tute, you can make your maybe fill in the tute, complete that note, and you can catch it up on your end. Right? So that path is clear, guys. Right? So it doesn't mean that just because you start classes from November, that now you're already behind, you can't catch up, everyone is ahead of you. No, right? So you can start from unit number two parallelly, right? If you want to catch up unit number one, you can purchase that recording and the tune as well. So then you have not missed anything. And the third news is, guys, we will be covering in our entire 2-year program of classes, I will be covering the syllabus 5 times. Now, this theory class is only the first time, right? So we will do a theory class, we will do a revision class, we will do a past paper class, which I usually do for free sometimes, right? We will do a fast track program. We will do a mock exam series. With all of that, in now you all have around 2 years to 2.5 years now to get A levels done. So within those 2.5 years, we cover the syllabus 5 times, guys. So for those who are feeling a little bad, now I've already missed this first unit. No, what do I do? Right? Don't worry at all. Because one, you can purchase that recording and catch it up, right? And also in the future, little by little, right, we will cover those things again and again and again and again, right? Because we start writing answers, we start doing a lot of things. So that is where we are at now, guys, right? So today, what we are doing is we are starting unit number two, which has zero connection with unit number one. So even if you don't know the unit, don't get scared, don't feel bad, right? Because you can understand. And then in terms of how does the class work, right? Since I'll take in a few minutes on this also. Now, for those who already come, you all have an idea. So in terms of classes, guys, what I do is I do all my classes online. Main reason is I have a lot of people coming from outside Colombo as well, right? And I feel that, an online class gives in much more benefits than a physical one because the main reason is the cost of living these days, right? Now, usually you try to go to a physical class, you waste a lot of time in the road, right? Traffic, the bus, right? You have to, at least spend, I will say at least 400, 500 rupees, right? For maybe a evening snack, maybe sometimes, for transport, maybe, and even your time, that's a lot of money. So in terms of an online class, all of that is avoided. The only thing you will have is maybe once in every 3, 4 months, you might have to pay a small courier charge to collect your tute. That is all that you have to do, right? So I think it's a good cost saving. And but the biggest advantage of the online class is that all these classes are recorded, right? Oops, sorry. Okay, sorry guys, but had a power cut all of a sudden at this time also. Can you all, okay, sorry guys, had a power cut all of a sudden, very unlucky at this time itself. Right. Can you all let me know if you all can hear me and see a screen? Yes, can hear. No problem. Right. So I'll have my camera off until the power comes because you will not anyway see me. I'm not that fair. So with no lights, you can't see me anyway, right? So I'll have it off for now, right? Once current comes, I'll have my camera back on, right? Okay. So for now, we'll anyway continue. Don't worry, right? But I think the power cut is only for half an hour. No, it doesn't go for that long now, right? So that's a good thing for now. Okay. So once again, right, on how this class works, it works completely online. For now, we have classes on Wednesdays, right? That is from 7 to 9. Okay, and little by little the time will extend because in the flyer and all I have mentioned 6:30 to 9 because since this is the very beginning, still we go from 7 to 9. Little by little, I will extend the class, right? It'll go on till go up to around 3 hours if I feel that we are falling a little behind. And the best advantage is that all these classes that we do, including today's class, guys, is recorded, right? We are recording it, and I have my own website where I upload all these recordings. So by any chance, you will never miss a class, right? You will come to the online class by any chance, right? If you have anything during this time, maybe a power cut, maybe a family function, maybe you want to go out, right? You can still go back and watch that recording. And the even better news is that these recordings don't expire, right? So until A levels, any amount of times, as long as you are a student, you can keep on watching these recordings any amount of times, right? So even 2 years from now, if you want to come back and watch today's recording, right, it is there in our system. You can come back, you can play it, and you can watch that. So that is a system that I have made because I feel, right, given that these classes are online, we have to make use of those advantages, right? Now in a physical class, if you miss the class, it's gone. But in an online class, it's a little different, right? We have these advantages and let's make use of it, right? Why are we doing that? Yes, and I understand, guys, in an online class, right, the physical interaction is less, right? I will have to agree with that. No, now I don't have to say the online class is the best and physical is not good. No, right? Yes, online has benefits, right? Lesser cost, right? You can focus better because no one is there to trouble you and disturb you. You're at your home on your own. You have a printed tute that is sent to your doorstep, right? All of that is there. You have the recordings, all of that is there. Yes, the bad side is, guys, right? The physical interaction is a little less. You might not have your friend next to you to smile at, to gossip a little. Your friend is not there, right? You might not see me physically. Those things are there. So I will agree with that. So it's a matter of, balancing out the benefits and the costs, right? The good and the bad, and deciding whether you all want a physical one or whether you all want an online one. But I'll tell you guys, right? Right now, a physical class might look okay because you will only have one class a week. Okay. Trust me, maybe around 1.5 years to 2 years down the line, right? If all your classes become physical, it's going to be very hectic for you, right? Because now for my 2022 batch, I have 5 classes a week, right? I have 5 classes a week. Imagine you do 3 subjects, have around 15 classes a week. Imagine going for that amount of classes physically, impossible, right? So my advice is right now, yes, physical might sound nice, only 3 days, no sir, I have to go, right? 3 subjects, 2 hour class, it might be okay. But we always plan ahead, guys, because I'm not someone who looks at 1 month or 2 months. I look at a 2 month time frame. So when you're making in that decision, right, maybe I would recommend, right, if you online is good, right, if you really want some sort of a physical interaction, right, if you really want some sort of a physical interaction, what you can do is maybe one subject, right, you can try to go in physical if you really want that, right? But anyway, if you're going to school, guys, you have your friends at school, no problem, right? So because I know there are some people you want that physical interaction, that is there, guys. So make that decision wisely, because 1.5 years, 2 years down the line, you will be wasting a lot of time in the road sometimes if all of your classes become physical, it's not easy to go to around 10-15 classes a week when that happens, right? So that is how the class works. That's the benefit of learning online. And also, once again, repeating, we're starting unit number 2 today. You can catch up unit number 1 if you want to. You can purchase in that recording, right? And the tute, which will be sent to your doorstep, printed and sent. You can watch and catch it up. And the unit number 2 tute, guys, I have not printed it and sent it yet. I did not get it from the printers yet. For those who have been asking me, right? Once I get it, I will be sending the unit number 2 and 3 tute together, because for the next 2-3 months, we will be doing unit number 2 and 3. So I will combine those two tutes together, make it as a book, and I will send it to you. So that way, guys, your courier charge is also saved. You will not have to pay the courier charge around twice. You will, for the next 2-3 months, you'll only have to pay a courier charge this month, and then that is sorted. So that is how the classes work. That's how the entire program is. And yes, guys, any questions before we start? Anything that you all want to know? Maybe about me, maybe about the subject, maybe about, different things, right? Any questions, problems, anything? It can be anything, guys. Don't feel shy, right? You can ask it on the chat box. You can send the message only to me. I will not remember your name at the end of the day, right? So I will not say, this one asked a stupid question, right? I will not do that. All right. Okay. So yes, I only teach econ. Okay, your unit 1 marks, perfect, right? So we have almost finished marking the papers, right? You will get your marks today, right? I wanted to send it before the class, but our admin, I think we couldn't finish it. But somehow by tonight, right, or at least midnight today, you all will get your unit 1 exam marks. So last class we did a unit 1 exam. Once we finished, the good news is, guys, a lot of you all have actually done well, right? Actually, I'm proud. Right, I'm actually proud of how you all have handled the questions, right? Since this is only the theory class yet, like I said, we cover the syllabus 5 times. This is just the first time that you all have learned it, and that itself, if you all have written good answers, that means, right, by the time we finish the syllabus 5 times, by the time we do all of that, you all will be at a different level, guys, right? So always believe in yourself. Like I said, right, if I can come among the top 50 in the island, right, you can also definitely get that island rank. You can also definitely get do really well. My students have done it, I have done it, right? So you believe in yourself, do what I ask you to do, right? You should be able to get things done. Yes, is unit 2 and 3 connected? Yes, guys. So unit 1 and 2 is not connected. You don't have to know unit number 1 to know unit number 2, but to know unit number 3, you have to know unit number 2. So 2 and 3 is highly connected, right? So because without knowing anything about unit number 2, you can't do unit number 3, right? So that's not a problem for us because we are still in unit number 2. Once we learn this, unit number 3 becomes very easy. Any other questions, guys? Yes. Is 65 good? I think 65 is a good mark to start off. Some of you all, did you all get your marks? Yes? No? How am I? I'm doing good. The only thing is I'm sad that there is no current and I have to have my camera off and I'm starting to sweat now. I'm hoping that the power would come from half an hour and it will not drag to 1 hour. Or how long is the power cut these days? Is it okay? For those who got your marks, guys, how were your marks? I can't remember by name, but I remember overall how the marks were. 77, nice, good. Others, guys, those who got your marks. So I'll make in a flyer with the top 5 as well, right? So that you all know who the top 5 are and all of that. So good job with that, right? So we'll start, guys. Okay. Yes, I'll help you all on how to write part 2 answers. Don't worry, right? I'll give you all the answers, also suggested answers, which you all can compare and see how my answers look like and how your answers are. Okay, right. Now, we'll start with unit number 2, market forces and elasticity. Right. One condition, guys, okay, 63, good, right? So one condition that I want from you all, guys, I want all of you all to engage with me, right? You have your chat box on Zoom. You open your chat box, you respond to me, right? Yes, guys, some of you all would have got your marks, some of you all would have not got, right? We will come, okay? Paper, guys, I thought of not going into the extent of explaining because if any doubts, we can stay after class and we can clarify, no problem at all, okay? Right? Guys, I want all of you all to respond on the chat box, okay? Shall we take a couple of seconds? Can you say something on the chat box? Anything that you like? You can send an emoji, anything, a word, a letter, anything, just to, get you send something, right? Send something, send something, send something, like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, I have around 20 responses. Others, okay, there is a something also. Others, guys, I have, okay, 20, right? I have 30. Okay, I have a lot of messages, very interesting stuff also, right? Others, okay, I have around 35 responses now. There is around 10 left. Say something, guys. Say something on the chat box, an emoji, a hi, a yes, so I don't know, anything, right? Get that thing of, getting rid of, let's say, just looking at a screen, because it gets boring then, guys, right? Because, online also you don't have physical interaction, just looking at my face is also not there now because of no current, right? It gets boring, right? So I found all of you all to learn this, because this is the best thing about economics is a very practical subject, right? Economics is something you can learn what is happening in the country by learning it. And this is the best time to learn economics, I would say, with everything happening in the country, with all the nonsense Gota and the central bank governor Cabral and everyone did. This subject becomes very interesting now, right? Because earlier when I teach something, people don't know how to relate to it. Now when I say prices are going up, they will say, yes sir, these days, we saw these going up, right? Sometimes when I say exchange rate has got depreciated, they don't know how to work, right? But now they know, this is what has happened. So it's a very interesting subject and a very timely subject, right? And I also work in an economics firm, right? So there's a lot of knowledge I get from that as well, right? So my whole job is also economics, right? I'm not just a purely a teacher, right? I'm not just someone who just only teaches economics, right? My whole normal job that I do is also economics, right? Which we work with economic policies, we work with, the different things the government is doing, we advise companies on what they should do, right? The new budget is coming now in November, right? I don't know if you all have an idea on that, right? There is a budget reading that is going to happen in November, right? So with that, there will be tax changes, there will be new expenditure government is going to come up with, right? So we analyze those, we tell the businesses this is what we have to do. So my whole thing is revolved around economics, right? So it is your duty to get the best out of me, right? Because I'm someone who is very, very updated about what is happening in the country, guys, right? I'm not someone who teaches the same thing over and over again, because every batch I have new information, right? You ask me what happened yesterday, I will tell you what happened yesterday, right? And if you, okay, one interesting fact that is happening yesterday is that the government bought these guys. How many vaccines did you all get? COVID-19 vaccines. Do you all remember there was something called COVID-19? How many vaccines did you all get? One, two, how many? 2 doses, 1 dose, 3 doses, 4, right? Do you know the sad story, right? The sad story, okay, someone has got 10 also, okay? I don't know if that is healthy, but okay, maybe your whole family got 10, no? Right. So this whole thing, right? This government, right? We have bought vaccines. There is there is around 2 million vaccines that is expiring within this week, right? So government overestimated. They bought so much vaccine. Now, because COVID has died, some people are not getting it, right? Because you have to go all the way to get it. Then you have to do all of that, no, right? So now what has happened is 2 million vaccines are getting expired this week. So imagine, guys, do you think now if we are getting the vaccine for free? Government did not get it for free, guys. Government spent money to get that vaccine, right? I also don't know what the price is. It's not a market good, so you don't have the price of it. But do you think that vaccine for COVID will be like 5 rupees, 10 rupees? No, I'm pretty sure, right? One vaccine will at least be around 1,000 rupees, right? Minimum 1,000 rupees. So imagine 2 million vaccines getting expired. That's 2,000 million rupees, right? 2,000 million rupees being wasted just on that vaccine. So this is what our government is doing, guys. These fellows, no, right? So it's a very interesting thing we'll learn, right? Little by little. Okay. So I'll leave my stories for now. We'll come into demand. Right. Now, no connection with unit number 1. Don't worry. You stay with me, learn the unit with me. Right. So what is demand, guys? Right. Now I will give you all a basic example. Right. Okay. Now, for example, I would say that I want a Ferrari. Right now, you all know these cars, no? Okay, let's say, okay, for those girls, Girls also, I hope you all know what a Ferrari is. Okay, we'll forget about Ferrari. We'll say BMW, right? It's a car for those who don't. Okay. Now I am saying that I want the latest BMW, right? Do you think just because I say I want a BMW, that a demand for BMW is created? Now, once again, what is demand? Demand is at various different prices, what are the quantities people are willing to buy? For example, let's say if the price of a chocolate is 100 rupees, for a month, I will buy 10 chocolates. If the price of a chocolate is 50 rupees, I will buy 20 chocolates. If a price of a chocolate is 75, let's say I will buy 15 chocolates. That is what demand is. Demand is what? At different prices, the different quantities people are willing to buy, right? That is what in very simple terms demand is. We will expand on that, guys, by the time we go. So for example, if the price of the chocolate is 100, right? I will buy, my quantity demanded is, I will buy, let's say 20 chocolates a month, right? So one for me, one for my, better half. You can also buy stuff for your better half, right? So let's say the price of chocolate is 75, quantity demanded, let's say you're buying, let's say 30 chocolates. Price of chocolate is 50, you're buying, let's say 40 chocolates a week. I know you might end up with diabetes at the end of the month, but let's say that is the case. Now that is what demand is, right? Now I'm going back into my story about me wanting a BMW, right? So I am saying if the price of a BMW is, let's say 50 million, I will buy one BMW. Do you think that I am creating a demand for BMW? What do you all think? Do you all think that is also demand? Where do you think the problem is, guys? Now I am saying I want a BMW. You're also saying you also want a BMW or a Mercedes Benz. Is that demand or is that merely a want? Hmm? Is it demand or is it just a want? Now I am saying I want a BMW. Guys, give me a guess, guys. You don't have to know this, right? Because that is why we are learning, right? So just say, guys, what do you all think? I'm saying I want a BMW, right? If the BMW is 50,000, I will buy, sorry, 50 million, I will buy one BMW. That is more likely a want. What do you think the reason is, guys? Why do you think that is a... Okay, now for example, if Bill Gates say, right, you all know who Bill Gates is now, right, owner of Microsoft. If Bill Gates says that if the BMW is 50 million, he will buy one BMW. What do you think that is? Do you think that is demand or that is want? Now, if I say I will, this thing, that is a want. Now, if Bill Gates say that the world's richest person, he's not the richest anymore, but let's say if Bill Gates says, if the price of a BMW is 50 million, I will get one BMW. What do you think that is? Do you think that is a want or that is a demand? Is that a want or is that a demand? Here's one thing you need to remember is, right? A want becomes demand when it is backed with purchasing power. Now, what is this nonsense? A want, I am saying something, I am saying, right? A want becomes demand, right? A want becomes demand when it is backed with purchasing power. Now, what is purchasing power? The ability to buy, right? The ability to buy. Now, if you take the two people, me and Bill Gates, I also like to have a BMW. I would love to, right? But do I have the ability to buy a BMW? Do I have the money to get it? No. I have the money to buy a chocolate. I don't have the money to buy a BMW. So my want does not become a demand. Why? Because I don't have the purchasing power. In other words, I don't have the money, right? I don't have the money to buy this good. But if you take Bill Gates, for Bill Gates, 50 million rupees is nothing. That is like his daily income. For him, at 50 million buying one, this thing, that becomes demand. Is that clear, guys? The difference between what is a want and what is a demand. What is demand? Yes. So a want becomes demand once again, guys, when it is backed with purchasing power. When the person has money to buy it only, it becomes demand. Otherwise, it doesn't become demand. So once again, repeating, right? Now you will also say, sir, I want to have the latest iPhone, right? Now these days iPhone 14 is out. Does anyone know iPhone 14? At least did your parents, any parents, I don't know, promised you all that when results come, they would buy you the latest iPhone? No? And anyone like that? Any parents who would have promised you? No? I know my parents didn't promise me something like that, but I know if times have changed. Have your parents promised you? Now the iPhone 14 is out recently. Did they say that if you get 9As or if you do really well, they would give you this? No, right? I know, maybe, right? So that's a little too expensive now, but let's say we do, right? Now you will say you want the iPhone 14, right? You want the iPhone 14, not the 14 also. You want the iPhone 14 Pro Max, right? They promised you a bike. Nice. Okay, good. Right. So you're saying you say you want the iPhone 14 Pro Max. It's a want. Do you have the money to buy the iPhone 14 Pro Max? You don't have the money, right? So then does the want become demand? No, right? So remember, guys, for something to become demand, or better word is effective demand, it has to be backed with the purchasing power. In other words, only if people have the money, right, a want will become demand. Is that clear, guys? Fine. The ones who had problems, yes, guys, if you all are fine, say yes. If you still want me to explain, say no. Are you fine? Yes or no? Right. So almost everyone is yes. There are a few no's, right? So along with while I explain next part also, I will come back to this, right? Now look, here I am saying the various quantities consumers are ready to buy at various prices of a good in a certain period of time when other factors remain constant. What are these other factors? Don't worry, we will study. That is known as demand. So in very simple terms, how do we remember what is demand? At various different prices, what are the different quantities consumers are willing to buy? If the price is 100, right, I'm willing to buy 10 chocolates. Price is 200, I buy only a little less chocolates, right? So that is what demand is. Then guys, if you look at demand, you have two types of demand. One is individual demand, one is market demand. Now you can understand this from the word itself. You don't have to even memorize anything or write anything or by heart anything, not needed, right? What is individual demand? Yes, individual demand is, right, the demand of one person. Now, for example, guys, do you all drink Milo? Yes, no? Have you all had a Milo recently? Now, Milo is also a little expensive. Earlier, I remember, after class and all, we used to have a Milo. But now Milo is also a little bit out of the budget. It's around 120 or something now, no? Right? So, problems. Right? So, for example, let's say, right, when the price of a Milo, right, let's say this is the quantity demand of Arshad, right? So, when the price of a Milo is 50 rupees, right, let's say for a month, I drank 10 Milos. My quantity demand was 10. Okay. When the price of a Milo went to 75, now I buy only, let's say, 8 Milos. When the price of a Milo went to 100, now I'm buying only 6 Milos. Now, when the price of a Milo is 125, let's say, I only buy 4 Milos a month. That is my demand. Then likewise, there will be your demand. Now, this is what you call individual demand, guys. What is individual demand? That is one person's demand. Now, here, what is this? This is my demand for Milo. When the price is 50, my quantity demand, QD means quantity demand. My quantity demand for Milo is 10 units. So for a month, I will drink 10 Milos when the price is 50. When the price is 125, I will only buy 5 Milos, sorry, 4 Milos. That is my demand. Now, likewise, you have so many people in the market now. Am I the only fellow buying Milo? No, no. Right? You are also drinking Milo. Your friend is also drinking Milo. Your crush is also drinking Milo. Everyone is drinking Milo. So when we add that quantity demand, right? Now let's say quantity demand, let's say you're B. right? So let's say at the price of 50, you buy 5 milos. Price of 75, you buy 4. At the price of 100, you buy 3. At the price of 125, you buy 2. Then there's another person. Let's say you're a nice crush fellow, right? Your O-level class crush, right? That nice boy or girl in your O-level class, you wish that was yours, right? So let's say their demand was, when the price was 50, they used to drink 20 milos, right? When the price is 75, they used to buy 15 milos. Price is 100, they buy 10 milos, and here 5. So now all of these, what I have talked about here, is individual demand, guys, right? So at various different prices, different individuals. Now this is Arshad, this is you, right? This is your crush, right? So 3 different people. So likewise, guys, there can be 100 different people in the market. So individual demand is one person's demand, right? That is what I have showed. Now, if you add all these individual demands, right? So let's say at the price of 50, guys, can you all tell me? Now, let's assume that only these 3 people are there in the market, right? I want you to use your brains a little. Can you tell me, at the price of 50, how much is the market demand for Milo? If only these 3 people are there in the country, they are the only people buying Milo. Can you tell me how much would be the market demand for Milo? I am buying 10, you are buying 5, your crush is buying a 20. How much is the market demand? The market demand, guys, exactly. It's a 35, right? So market demand for Milo at the price of 50 is how much? At the price of 50, it's a 35 units. Now did you understand the difference between individual demand and market demand? Individual demand is the quantity that one person is willing to buy. Market demand is what? The sum of quantities all individuals are ready to buy. See, the sum means what? Total, right? Sum doesn't mean in maths you have to do addition or calculation, division. A sum here means the total of everything, right? So individual demand is one person's demand. So at the price of 50, I am buying 10 milos. 75, I buy 8 milos. Price is 100, I buy 6 milos. That is my individual demand. Then there is your individual demand. When we add all of this together, then we get the market demand. So how did I get the 35 here? The 10 plus the 5 plus the 25. So the market demand for Milo at the price of 50 is 35 units. Is that okay, guys? What is demand and what is individual and market demand? Fine. Questions, problems? Like if you're fine, say yes. If you're not fine, say no, guys. I will explain. Don't worry. Don't feel sad. Yes or no? Are you fine? What market demand is? Right. Others also, guys, I have around 30 responses. There's around 15 to 20 people missing. I'll also find. I know, no, sometimes it's very hard, no, to, when these fellows are asking questions every 30 seconds, I have to take my phone, no laptop, and I have to type. I know, but do that, guys, because if you don't do that, you lose focus, right? If you're just looking at the screen and waiting, right? Half an hour down the line, you're thinking of someone else, right? You're thinking of some nice, nice friend, your special friend, right? You're thinking of one of them, you're thinking of something else. That starts to happen, right? So as much as possible, you engage with me on the chat box, because otherwise you lose focus, right? Cricket fans, you will be wondering, will Sri Lanka get into the semi-finals? Others, you all will be wondering, what is this fellow talking, right? Things happen, okay? So once again, to summarize this entire thing, what we did so far in the last 20 minutes, we spoke of what is demand. I said demand is what? The different quantities consumers are willing to buy at different prices. So when the price is this much, how much units do they buy? When the price is this much, how much do they buy? That is what you call demand. Then there are 2 types: individual demand, market demand. What is individual demand? Individual demand is one person's demand. So when the price of a Milo is 50, how much of Milo will I buy? That is my individual demand. Then you have your individual demand, your crusher's individual demand, right? If you add all these demands together, then you get the market demand. Is that fine, guys? Shape no? Right. Now we go into the interesting part, right? The determinants of demand. Now, this one, guys, I don't want you all to memorize, right? I want you all to practically understand this, right? So there are different determinants of demand. And now the next page, guys, of the tute. Now you all don't have a printed tute yet, I understand. I have left it blank, right? I want you all to be as creative as possible and fill this thing, right? I will do this in my whiteboard, right? I don't know if you all have current or not. I don't know if you are. Is other anyone else having a power cut? Is it only me? Anyone else having a power cut? Only me, or is there someone else? Am I the only fellow with a power cut here? Where is that? No. Why out of everyone? It should have been you. No? I should have had the current in way. No, never mind. Right. So some reason I'm the only fellow. I hope. Guess did anyone have a power cut before today? Yes. Can you all tell me how long it was? I just hope it is half an hour. Did anyone have a power cut before the class? Maybe in the evening? No. No one? Then why is it me? Why am I so unlucky then? Right. I'm having a cardboard and fanning myself and talking. Right. Okay. Never mind. Right. So we get in the determinants of individual and market demand. Had okay, the person who had, how long was it? Was it half an hour? Was it 1 hour, 120, 140? How long was it? 1 hour? Oops. Right. So my current went at around 710, no? Yeah, hopefully it will be back by 810 then. Okay, right. Never mind. So we look at determinants of individual and market demand. Guys, what do you think determines demand? Now we said no, demand is the different quantities people are willing to buy. Guys, what do you think the major determinant of demand is? We looked at this before also. When buying anything, what do you first look at? What is the first thing you ask the Kade fellow? Right? Or even when you're going to join, let's say, my class, what do you ask? Sir, how much is the what? How much is the fees? You look at the price, right? The main determinant, right, of anything is the price, guys. The main determinant for demand is the price, right? Apart from that, you have some other determinants also. You have price of related goods. We'll talk about this. Consumers' income, the consumer's taste, the future expectations. Nice stories are there, right? So we'll start off right now. I will leave this over here, guys. I will explain this story on my whiteboard, right? What I want you all to do now is, okay, you can get a A4 sheet, right? We are going to we are going to make a nice colorful summary of it. Once you get your tute, you can either, if you have written that A4 thing nicely, you can paste it on top of this, or else you can rewrite it. That is up to you, right? Once you get your printed tute, you're registered and you get your printed tute, you can do that, right? So we'll go one by one, right? The determinants of demand. Very easy thing, guys. I want you all to interact with me, and I want you all to understand this better, right? Because what you have to do now, guys, is if possible, right, get a A4 sheet, right? If possible, get a A4 sheet. I'm going to run you through these determinants of demand, right? So our topic, determinants of demand, right? Right. So we'll start off with our first determinant. Okay. Our first determinant of demand is, right? Our first determinant of demand is the price of the good, right? Our first determinant, right? What is our first determinant? The price of the good, right? Now I want all of you all to relate to me here, and guys, we'll learn this, right? Price of the, we'll say concerned good means the good, right? The price of the concerned good. Can you all tell me, okay, use your common sense now, right? I'm hoping all of you all have common sense, right? Can you tell me, when the price of a good increases, what happens to the quantity demanded? Do you buy more of it, or do you buy less of it? In other words, does the quantity demand increase or the quantity demand decrease? If the price increases, something became expensive now, right? The price increases, what happens to QD? Use your common sense, guys. You don't have to know economics to know this. When the price increases, what happens to quantity demand? The amount of goods that you buy. Now, quantity demand, I'll say QD, right? What happens, guys? It decreases. No common sense, no, guys, right? When it's expensive, you say, Ambu, Maragana, right? You don't buy it now, no? You buy less of it, right? You say, product adu karanna puluwanda, right? You ask the fellow, Ambu, wedi negana, right? Can you decrease it? Right? You try to bargain also. But when the price is high, usually what happens? The quantity demand decreases, right? You buy less now, no? Can you all tell me what happens the opposite way if the price decreases now? If the price decreases, what happens to quantity demand? There is a sale. Now, ladies, you all get very excited. No? Now, someone is giving a sale. Right now, there is this year-end sale. Now, Christmas is also coming. Right now, you will have year-end sales and Christmas sales, and all these shopping places are giving clothes and all for cheaper rates. Now, ladies, you get excited. Right, boys, I don't think we get excited much, but yes, we also get excited little. Right, not as much as the ladies. Now, what do you all do, guys, when the price goes down? They are saying sale 50% off, 70% off, right? Your quantity demand increases. You now tend to buy more, right? Is that okay, guys? Are you all okay with that basic? That's the first determinant of demand. So one factor that affects demand is the price of that good itself. When the price is high, people buy little, quantity demand decreases. When the price is low, people buy a lot. Now that is very easy, right? Now we'll make it a little bit hard. We'll go into our second determinant, right? Determinant number 2, right? Price of related goods. Now, what is this nonsense, right? PN. Okay, we give the symbol PN. Guys, there are 2 types of related goods. Okay, number 1 is substitutes. Okay, number 2 is complementary goods, but I'll come to that for now. Guys, what do you think a substitute is? Okay, can you give me a substitute for tea? Before going to what a substitute is, can you give me a substitute for tea? What do you think is a substitute for tea? Okay, coffee. Okay, Nescafe. Pizza, not very close. Again, am I though? Right. What's a substitute, guys? Milk. Okay, fine. Yes. Yes, a substitute. Okay, Kirikahada, right? Okay, fine. Okay, drinks. Yes, Coca-Cola, Pepsi. What is a substitute, guys? A substitute, right, is a good. Okay, yes, other similar goods. Very easy way to say that, right? But if I'm to give you a more formal definition, a substitute, right? A substitute is a good that can be consumed instead of another, right? So instead of this, you can get that. For example, if I ask you what is the substitute of tea, right? Instead of tea, what can you drink? You can drink coffee. You can drink, let's say, milk. You can drink Nescafe. You can drink a fruit juice, right? So what is a substitute? A substitute is a good that can be consumed instead of another. Instead of tea, I can drink milk. Instead of tea, I can drink coffee. Is that part clear, guys? Yes. What a substitute is. Right. Now, we are going to learn how will the price of substitutes affect the demand for our good, right? Let's say, okay, our good, okay, our good is anchor. Now, guys, I'm writing it in informal words. Our good means the concerned good, right? That is our good. Let's say our good is anchor milk powder. Okay, anchor milk powder is our good. Okay. The substitute is, guys, can you all give me a substitute for anchor milk powder? Instead of anchor milk powder, can you all give me another brand, some other brand that we can buy? Ratti. Okay, we'll say Ratti. Okay, there is Ratti milk powder. Okay, right? So let's say, okay, yes, there is diamond also now. Okay, right, right. Now I want you all, right now this gets a little tricky and not as easy as our first one, right? We'll see how many of you all can get this right. How many of you all are smart enough to figure this out, right? I want you all to tell me when the price of substitute. Now remember, if the price of anchor increase, quantity demand will decrease. That's what we learned in the first one. In the second one, we are saying not the price of our good, the price of a substitute is changing. Let's say price of Maliban decreases, right? What do you think happens to the demand for anchor? Think, guys. Will the demand for anchor increase or the demand for anchor decrease? Think. I want you all to use your brains now. What is going to happen? There are two goods, anchor and Ratti. Sorry, not Maliban. No, other one is Ratti. No, sorry, right? Ratti has decreased, right? Now Ratti has become cheap. My question is, what will happen to the demand for anchor? That's what I want you all to think. What is going to happen, guys? Now, if I practically explain this to you, right? When the price of Ratti, right? Most of you have given me the correct answer. Good, right? When the price of Ratti decreases, right? What will you do, guys? Will you buy anchor or will you buy the cheaper good Ratti? What will you do? When the price of Ratti goes down, when the price of Ratti goes down, your parents are saying, remember this, they'll remember this whole ad about Nunakkareo Gannema Ratti, right? They marketed in a way you had Mrs. Pereira. Yes, no, do you all remember that ad? There is this lady, Mrs. Pereira, she is there with a red sari. Yeah, right. See, that whole story, right? Now let's say Ratti became cheaper. Okay. What will now the Nunakkareo do? The people with brains do? They would now buy Ratti, right? So as a result, okay, you don't buy either, right? Okay, fine, no problem, right? So when the price of Ratti milk powder decreases, what happens to the demand for your product? That means anchor. When the price of Ratti decreases, everyone is now buying Ratti. As a result, the demand for anchor decreases. Is that clear, guys? Did you all understand that? When the price of the substitute, that is Ratti, when it went down, now everyone is buying Ratti. No one is buying anchor. Some people, loyal anchor fans, are buying anchor still, but most of the people have now switched, right? So how can we put that in formal terms, guys? In formal words, we can say, right, when the price, right, when the price of the substitute decreases, the demand for the concerned good means our good, no, concerned good decreases. Is that clear, guys? Does it make sense? Because I don't want you all to memorize, guys. Don't memorize price of substitute decrease, our demand decrease. No, right? You have to practically understand what is happening in the market. Yeah, right. Then for those who did not understand, most of you all have, good, right? I will show you the other way of this now. Then also you will still understand, right? Let's say the price of Ratti increased. Price of Ratti increased. Ratti has now increased their price. What will happen to the demand for anchor? Think. Ratti has gone and said now their milk powder, let's say both were 1,000 earlier. Ratti is now saying we are selling at 1,005, right? If you want, you buy. What will happen to the demand for anchor now? I don't want the demand for Ratti. Anchor is our product, no? I am talking about what will happen to demand for anchor. When the price of Ratti increases, what happens, guys? Demand for anchor increase, no? Why? What will people do now? When Rati becomes expensive, people will see what nonsense. Your mother will call your auntie and say, you know, Mara problem, no, these days, this price has gone up, right? What do you all buy? Right? Your auntie will say, we buy anchor these days, that is cheaper. So you also switch to anchor now, right? So when the price of Rati increases, what happens? Demand for anchor. Demand for anchor increases. So how do we put that in formal terms? In formal terms, if you're going to put that, we can say price of the substitute, when the price of the substitute increases, the demand for the concerned good increases. Is that clear, guys? Yes. I all fine with how does the price of the substitute affect your demand? Yeah. So once again, let me summarize the first 2 points, guys. The first point we talked about the price of our good itself. Right now here, let's say our good is anchor value. So if the price of anchor increase, quantity demand for anchor will decrease. If the price of anchor decrease, quantity demand will increase. People will buy more. So our first factor is price of our good itself. Our second factor affecting demand, or our second determinant is price of related goods. The first type of the related good is a substitute. What is a substitute? A good that can be consumed instead of another. So if the price of substitute increases, that means in our case, Rati, which is the substitute for anchor, if the price of Rati, sorry, first we'll talk decrease. If the price of Rati decrease, people will buy Rati then. So the demand for your good will go down. So when the price of substitute, right? So I'll say when here, right? When the price of the substitute decreases, the demand for the concerned good decreases. Then when the price of the concerned substitute increases, if Rati became expensive, now people will come to your good, no? As a result, the demand for your good increases. Is that fine, guys? Questions, problems, issues, anyone? Right? Guys, practically understand, guys. Please don't memorize, right? Econ is never a subject who is memorizing. If your teacher tells you to memorize, that person is not teaching it properly, right? So it's not a subject you have to memorize. It's something you have to practically understand how it works, right? So now, under price of related goods, we have another type of related good, right? The other type of related good, guys, is complementary goods. Now, one is substitutes. We can call it complements, or we can call it complementary goods. Guys, what do you all think are complementary goods? Think. What do you all think are complementary goods, guys? What do you think now? A substitute is a good that can be consumed instead of another. Instead of tea, I can drink coffee. What do you think complementary good is? What do you think the meaning of this is? Phone and SIM card, right? Perfect. Okay, can you give me some examples, guys? Complementary goods. Same thing like substitute. Yes. What do you think? Guys, complementary goods are, right? Now I'll give you the definition, then I will want you all to give me some examples, right? I am saying two goods that should be, okay, two goods that are consumed together, right? Two goods that are consumed together. Now I will give you one example. I will say shoes and socks, because when you buy shoes, you have to buy socks now, right? Shoes and socks. So two goods that are consumed together. Can you give me some other examples, guys? Right? There is car and fuel. Nice. Okay. Toothpaste, toothbrush. Good. Right? Vehicle, fuel. Fine. What else? Okay. Tea and sugar. Okay. Curd and honey. Okay. Nice. Good. Right. Hoping you're a curd fan. Okay. Books and pens. Okay. Right. Phone and the charger. Yes. There was phone and SIM. Good. Bread and milk. I know. Do you eat bread and milk together? I'm not sure. T-shirt and a trouser. Yeah. Maybe. Okay. Okay. Movie and popcorn. Okay, right? Bread and butter. Yes. Yeah. So do you get the idea of that, guys? Do you get the idea of what a complementary good is? Yes, tea leaves and anger. Nice, right? What a complementary good is. Yes, two goods that are consumed together. Now, what was a substitute? A substitute is a good that can be consumed instead of another. Now, instead of anchor, we can buy rati. Complementary is not that. Complementary is along with anchor, what else do you buy? So maybe anchor milk powder and tea leaves. Maybe anchor milk powder and sugar, right? That is complementary. Okay. Now, yes, rice and curry. Nice. I'm hoping you're not hungry. Guys are hungry. I'll give you all a break also, right? I'll do a little bit and give you all a break, right? Don't worry. I'll give you all a break by around 8:15. Okay. Right. So let's take, right? We'll take a different example. We'll every day can't take Rati and Ankan, right? We'll take shoes and socks, right? Shoes and socks. Let's say shoes is the complementary good, right? Shoes is the complementary good, okay? And let's say we are selling socks. Socks is our good. That means our concerned good, okay? Right. Now, prices of shoes increase. Now, complementary good, price increase. I want you all to use your brains now and tell me, when the price of shoes increases, what will happen to the demand for socks? Think. Will the demand for socks increase? Will the demand for socks decrease? Shoes have become expensive now. What will happen? Think, guys. Right? You can think, practically think. Shoes have become expensive. Shoes and socks are complementary. Shoes have become expensive. Nice. I have around 25 answers. Others also think, think, think. Shoes have become expensive. Use your brain, right? I think after O levels, the first time you're using your brains now. Yeah. Shoes have become expensive. What's gonna happen to your demand for socks? What will happen? Think. When the price of shoes increase, people will buy less shoes now. Shoes ganang ready, right? If you bought shoes every 6 months, now you will buy shoes only once a year. So when the price of shoes increase, people buy less shoes. Now, because they are buying less shoes, what happens to the demand for socks? They buy less socks also now. The demand for socks decreases. Is that clear, guys? When the price of shoes increase, people will therefore buy less shoes. So they are buying less shoes means they are buying less socks as well. Demand for socks also decrease. Now that is what is happening now, guys, these days with cars and petrol, right? Now these days, because petrol is very expensive, the demand for cars have gone down. Yes, do you all know that the car prices are coming down now? Yes, okay, first of all, did you know that the car prices went up with the import bans and all of that? The vehicle prices went up like crazy, right? The thing is, little by little now, car prices are coming down. So if you or your family is wanting to buy a car, right? Recommendation, wait for a few more months. It will come down. The main reason it is coming down is because interest rate is very high. So leasing is very expensive. And also this fuel and everything. Now, because fuel is very expensive, people don't want to buy vehicles. They would rather go by bus. So, right, they would maybe take a pick me and something and go, maybe take a three-wheeler and go. They would tend to do that. Maybe they're buying bikes, maybe, with lesser fuel consumption, right? So again, something that is practically happening in Sri Lanka now, right? So when the price of shoes increase once again, people will buy less shoes. As a result, demand for shoes decrease, right? Let's do the opposite now. In terms of the opposite, what happens? When the price of shoes decrease, now let's say there is a sale for shoes. Price of shoes decreases. What is going to happen, guys? What will happen to the demand for socks? If the price of shoes decrease, now shoes are cheap, everyone is buying shoes. along with the shoe, they buy a pair of socks also because you have to wear socks, no guys. So demand for socks increases, right? That is the story there. So then if I am to write it in formal words, how can I write this? I can say, oops, sorry, right? I can say when the price of the complement, right, increases, the demand for the concerned good decreases. So price of complement, in my example, what is the complement? Complement is shoes. When the price of shoes increased, the demand for our concerned good, that is socks, decreased. Opposite is when the price of this decreases, right, decreases, the demand for the concerned good increases. Any questions, guys, there? Are you all fine, or do you all have any problems? That's how the price of related goods affect our demand. Fine, say yes. Questions, problems, issues? Shape, guys, if you're fine, you say yes. If you're not fine, you say no. I will re-explain. Are you okay with it? Yes or no? Yes, don't worry, right? Now, this is the first time you all are learning, no? Right? Sometimes you understand, but sometimes it's a little too much to remember, right? Don't worry, yeah. Now you can, have a nice A4 sheet, little by little, right? I will send this picture also in the group, right? So don't worry about, all of that, right? Little bit time. Now, how do I categorize this as complementary and concerned good? I just took, right? I just took an example. So I have concerned good means this is the goods demand that I'm talking about. Complementary is the other good, right? So I can, if you want, I can change this also. I can say socks is the concerned good, shoes is the complementary, no problem, right? I'm just taking a normal example. Okay, right? Shall we do one more determinant and then take our break? Right, so we did concern good, we did related good. Shall we do income and then shall we take our break? Okay, I'll give you all like a small 5-10 minute break because otherwise also hard, no guys, to wait in front of a laptop full time. Yeah, right. So we'll do our third determinant. Okay, the third determinant is consumer income, right? Now, consumer income is how much you're earning for a month. Right? Now, guys, this is easy. I want you all to think. When the consumer income increases, what will happen to the demand? Let's say you got a promotion. Your salary has gone up. What will happen to your demand now? Will it increase? Will it decrease? Use your brain, guys. It's not that hard. Not as hard as the substitute and complement. Think. Your income has gone up. Your father or you, or now you're getting a higher salary. What happens to your demand? Does it increase? Does it decrease? Think, guys. I have around 30 answers. Others? Another few people left. What happens when the price of when consumer income increases? Exactly, right? So when consumer income increases, repeating, what happens? Demand increases. No, you buy more now, right? Consumer income increases, demand increases. Then on the other side, the opposite of it, if consumer income decreases, what happens? Your demand decrease. You buy less goods now, right? Now, this is how it works for something called a normal good, right? A normal good. Now, what is this nonsense? I will come here. Okay, guys, I want you all to think, right? I'll give you a different example. Okay, I want all of you all to practically think with me. Use your common sense. Don't by heart anything. You're earning 100,000. Okay, you're earning 100,000. Your family is earning 100,000. Now, in your house, you have bought 5 fans, right? Ceiling fans are there. You have bought 5 fans. Okay, now you have 5 fans, something, right? Your father got a promotion. Now he is not earning 100,000. Now he is earning 500,000, right? What do you think will happen in your house? Will the demand for ceiling fans increase or will it decrease? What do you think will happen? Practically tell me. Practically think what will happen. 100,000, you had around 4 or 5 ceiling fans in your house. Now your father got a promotion for 500,000. What do you all think you all are going to do now, guys? Would you stick to ceiling fans or would you switch to something else? If your income increased from 100 to 500,000, are you still going to buy ceiling fans or will you switch to a better product? What are you going to switch to, guys? Now what do you switch to? You switch to a AC, right? 100,000 you were with fans. Now, for those in Norelia, guys, in Norelia, do you all know what a AC is? Yes. The ones who live in Norelia, you would have not even seen a fan sometimes. You all know what a AC is? Yes. Okay, right. Okay. No, because I actually went a trip to Norelia, right? I went a trip to Norelia. I realized that, the rooms to any of it doesn't have a fan, right? Now in Colombo, that is like a big problem. If a room doesn't have a fan, how are you going to sleep at night, right? Staying in the normal times, now it's if I'm having a cardboard and fanning myself and waiting without current, right? So I realized not that they have a fan and they don't even have a fan, right? In some rooms, right? So forget about a fan. You forget about a fan. How will they have AC? No chance, right? So for those people, I'm hoping no really ones, you all know what a AC is because it's very cold there, right? So once again, when you're earning 100,000, right? See, when your income, I'll say income will put with the letter Y. When your income is 100,000, right? Your demand for ceiling fans is 5, right? Yes, they have a natural AC. Nice, right? Yes, they will need hot water. Yes. I remember, in New Orleans, they had this, the hot water shower, right? They had the very basic one, right? Even after owning the hot water shower, it's still cold, right? Now, in our places, when you are on the hot water shower, the water gets hot, no, right? Here, when you on the hot water shower, the water becomes the very cool becomes normal cool. That's what happens, right? So that's a different story. Okay. Now, when your income goes to 500,000, now you know what you will do, guys. Now you will not be having 5 ceiling fans, right? Maybe for around in 2 rooms, you switch to a AC. So now at the income level 500, right? Your demand for ceiling fans is only 3 because 2 rooms you have switched to a AC. Do I use hot water in Colombo? Sometimes yes, early morning I do use, right? Because sometimes it's very cold. I don't know what you go, but I sometimes need it. Okay. I also got it recently, only like 1 year ago. Not even 1 year. Okay. There was offer from Singer and I bought it. Okay. Right. So once again, repeating is think when your income went from 100 to 500, what happened to your demand for ceiling fans? 5 went to 3. Your demand decreased, right? Now, usually when income increases, demand increases. When income increases, you buy more, no? Right? That is normal. But there are different other situations also. So for inferior goods, right? For inferior goods, these are special case, things like ceiling fans, for example, right? When income increases, an increase in consumer income, what happens? Consumer income increases, demand decreases. You bought lesser ceiling fans, now you switch to AC. And on the other side, when consumer income decreases, there will be a increase in demand. Let's say you were earning 500,000. Now your father lost his job and he's having a basic job now, right? So then what happens? You will buy more ceiling fans. Now you will get rid of the AC, you will buy more ceiling fans. Now that is what you call a inferior good. Now again, to remember guys, a normal good has a positive relationship with income and demand. A inferior good has a negative relationship with income and demand. Now remember, consumer income increases, demand increases. Positive, no, both are going the same direction. Consumer income decrease, demand decrease. So normal goods have what? A positive relationship with income, right? Then inferior goods are goods with a negative relationship with income. Yes, can you all give me some more examples for inferior goods? Now, I gave you a fan and AC. Can you give me like two combinations like that for inferior goods? Apart from fans and ACs. Okay, Samsung to iPhone. Okay. Give me like two products. Okay, chairs and sofas. Okay, fine. For those who smoke, guys, you might have a better example. I don't know if any of you all smoke, but I don't. But I think there's an example there. Okay, fan and cooler. Okay. LED CFL, fine. Okay, bigger TV. But what if I give you other examples? What if I give you some better examples? Yes, a BD to cigarette. Okay, wow. The whole surprising part is it came from a girl and not a boy. How? Right. So examples, right, for inferior goods, right? So we can say fans and ACs, right? Maybe we can give the BD, right? You all know the cheaper version of a cigarette, the small one that is 10 rupees or something, right? I don't know how you spell it, right? I'll just say BD, right? Is it called BD? I think that's how you spell it. Not sure, right? Maybe BD and a cigarette, right? Then maybe you have this, guys. What about margarine, right? Yes, how many of you all, I don't know, what do you all use, guys? Do you all use, okay, in terms of butter and stuff, what do you all use? Do you all use Astra or do you all use like Anchor or something like that? What do you all use? And at our place, we use Astra. Right? Astra, yeah? Normal people, right? You all are also normal people like me. So Astra is what? Astra is margarine, right? What is the better version of margarine? What's the better version? You have Anchor and you have, all of that. What do you have? You have you have butter, right? Okay, not Nutella to margarine, okay, but we'll have butter, right? Okay, maybe yes, maybe some basic thing to Nutella. Yes, right? So is that fine, guys? Those are inferior goods, right? Now, when your income increases, when your income goes up and up and up and up, right? What happens? Okay, there's a 21 student also, right? Okay, so right, finally my power is back. Okay, so I can have my camera on. Right. What happens, guys? When your income increases, right? You buy less. No, now think now, right now, guys, my family also, we also buy Astra, guys, right? So we have a normal income level. We also buy Astra. Now, what do you think would happen if our income increases? We would now stop buying Astra. We would stop buying margarine and we would shift to what? We would shift to butter, right? We would shift to, things like, let's say, Anchor, right? It's more tastier, right? Butter is much more tasty. I think sometimes when you go for hotels and you have this small butter and you eat it and see it's much more tastier than the normal margarine that we have. My face is crystal clear, maybe because of my camera, right? Okay. Hoping that's fine, guys. Shall we take a break? Shall we take a small quick break? And because I want to finish these others also, consumer taste, future expectations. Shall we take a quick break and then how much minutes do you all want? Are you all okay with 5 or do you all want 10? Until 8:25 or 8:30? How long do you all want a break? There is not a single one who says 5. Okay, right. So we'll take a 10-minute break, right? You can run around, you can walk and come. Okay, there's one person who says 5, there's one person who says 30 also. No, 30, right? So you come back by not 10 minutes, now you get a 9-minute break. So take a break till 8:30, right? That's 9 minutes from now. You don't have to eat dinner and all. You eat dinner at 9 o'clock once I finish the class, right? So walk around, do what you want, and come back by 8:30. I will go through the other determinants and the other parts. So we'll learn this entire thing today itself and put it into our head. Okay, so take a break and come. Right. Take a break till 8:30. Okay, right. Let's start. Sorry for the minute delay. Are you all back, guys? Say something on the chat box if you're back. If you're back, if you can hear me, and if you're there, say something on the chat box so that I know that you're here. You can hear me, and you've not fallen asleep. Right. Okay. So looks like most of you are back. Some of them are still not back. Right. Okay. I have around 25 messages. Some of them anyway after the break they disappear. And there is a crowd like that as well. Right. Okay. Give me a second, guys. Okay. So now we'll get into the other determinants. The good news is, guys, the other determinants are actually a little easier than the first few that we did, right? So now let me erase this. Okay. Let's now go into our fourth one, right? The fourth determinant is what we call consumer taste, right? So now this is consumer fashion and taste, they kind of go hand in hand. Okay. Right. So number 4 is what? Consumer taste. Second, okay, consumer taste. Yes, consumer taste, we can't really say increase or decrease here. Now, when it comes to consumer taste, you can't say taste increase, taste decrease, right? When it comes to consumer taste, what we can usually say is favorable consumer taste, unfavorable consumer taste, right? Now, for example, let me give you a normal, guys, can you all tell me, can you give me one industry that is highly affected by this consumer taste? The demand for the goods in that industry is highly affected by consumer taste. If it's not trending and if it's not, that is not the taste, people will not buy it. What do you all think? Food, okay, but there's a better example. What do you all think? Okay, right, I have the correct answer. It's not food. Something that is very related to consumer taste. Like if that is not the trend, people will not buy that. What do you all think? Yes, what about the clothing industry? Clothes, right? Trend changes very fast, What was popular last year is not what is popular this year, no? Now remember, guys, there was this, have you all seen this boys wearing t-shirts printed like a newspaper? Have you all seen that? Yes, this newspaper printed white t-shirt like a newspaper. Have you all seen that? Yeah, right. That was at one point it was the trend, right? Everyone wanted. No, I did not have one, right? Everyone wanted something like that, and a newspaper kind of printed paper, but a printed t-shirt. Now that is died off, right? Now people think, poor useless fellow. Now only is wearing this, right? Even when it comes to, let's say, shoes, right? Uh, there was this trend for having a white shoe, right? There was this whole trend about girls, boys, everyone they want to wear white shoes. That trend is somewhat still there to some extent. It's there. No, I did not buy. Right? Some extent is still there, so people are buying, right? And yes, do you all remember this? Do you all remember this whole concept of a widget spinner? That there was this, something like this, right? You can, put your finger and you can roll it and you can do stuff like that. Do you all remember? There was something like that. People used to buy it and people used to go crazy over it. And you keep it in your hand, then you turn it around. And that was there, right? There was one point where this was very famous. Now that is again what? That is consumer taste, right? You have a collection also? Right. See, that was the trend, no? Now, is anyone buying that now? No. Now are you going to the bookshops and buying fidget spinners? No. Earlier, I remember in a bookshop, when you go itself, they have fidget spinners. Right? That is again what there is. That is what you call consumer taste, right? So consumer taste and preferences. But if I am to expand this, I can say consumer taste and preference. So if there is favorable taste, let's say that good becomes the trend, and there is favorable taste, then what would happen? Then the demand would increase. But if there is unfavorable taste, right? Now, if I come and say, look here, what this is not that good, right? I will not recommend it to you, right? Then what happens? It goes off, right? So if you have favorable taste, right? Favorable taste, what happens? Demand increases. If you have unfavorable taste, right? So maybe, for example, when there is bird flu, right? So when there is bird flu, no one eats chicken, right now, because there is this whole disease called bird flu. Chickens also get it, right? So when there is bird flu, for those, let's say 1-2 months, no one eats chicken. That's unfavorable taste, right? So then demand decrease. So favorable taste demand increases, unfavorable taste demand decreases. Is that okay, guys? It's easy, no? Any questions on that? Questions, problems, issues, anything there? Okay. Right. Now we'll get into another interesting point. That is the future expectations. Now, this one I want you all to think again, right? We will use our brain. Okay. Future expectations, not about your expectations about getting married or anything. We'll talk about, when you say future expectations, we'll talk about the future price expectation. Okay. I want you all to practically think and give me an answer now. We'll see how many of you all can think to that level. Okay. The prices of, let's say, some good is going to increase next month, right? There is a good. The prices of that good is going to increase from next month onwards. So future expectation is that the price of that good will increase. What will happen to the current demand? At this point of time, what will happen to the demand? Will the demand increase? Will the demand decrease? Next month, whatever that good is, the price is going to go up. What is going to happen? Current thinkers, I want you to practically put your mind into it and think. There is something that you want to buy, right? Let's say a laptop or something. The laptop price is going to go up next month. What is going to happen to your demand right now? I'm not talking about next month, what is going to happen. Right now, what will happen to your demand? What's going to happen? I'll give you a good example. Think of fuel prices. When the government announces on TV that the fuel prices will increase from midnight today, means from tomorrow, fuel prices are going up. What do people do? Do they start queuing up in the fuel station and trying to get fuel today? Or do they say, never mind, I will buy tomorrow? What do people do if fuel prices are going to go up from tomorrow? Everyone is in the queue today, no? Everyone is, going and parking their car and staying in the queue and, somehow trying to get the petrol today itself. So if you know that the future price is going to increase, what do you do to your current demand? You buy it now itself, right? If you know laptop prices are going to go up, right? What will you do? You will now itself buy it. So when future expectation is, right? So you expect, right? Expect the future price to increase. Yes, works with gold, right? If you expect the future price to increase, what happens to your, because remember when I say demand, I'm talking about current demand. Your current demand increases, right? You buy it now itself, because in the future, 1 month later, this good is going to be expensive. So what do? You buy it now itself. Is that clear, guys? When the future price is supposed to increase, that the current demand increases, you buy it now itself and keep it with you. Yeah, fine. Then we'll go to our next point. I spoke about this. I spoke about this when I talked about second-hand cars, right? If you expect the future price to decrease, now that is what I'm saying in second-hand cars. Remember I told you earlier, second-hand cars, I told you, in the future, the price will go down. What will happen to your demand now? Will you buy the car now? Or will you wait for 2-3 months? When the price goes down, will you buy it then? So what happens to your current demand? Think. You will buy it in the future, no? Why are you going to spend the money now? So what happens to your current demand? That's what we are studying. We are not studying about future demand. We say, remember, demand at the current point of time, at this period of time. So if you expect the price to go down in the future, what do, guys? You don't buy it now, you wait, right? You patiently wait, right? Now, I also, always had this dream of, by the time I finish university 4 years, I will save up money and, I will buy a vehicle, right? Now, I'm almost coming to the end of my uni. Now, I'm done with my lectures and all of that is done, right? Exams are done, research is done, everything is done. We just want our results to come now, right? Sadly, or unfortunately, no, I have not bought my vehicle. Right? Prices have gone up. But I still, check vehicle prices. I keep it, in touch. So maybe if I feel that the future prices are going down, what would I do? I would wait a little bit more. Now I've already waited all this time. So I will not buy it now. I will buy it later. So if you expect the future price to decrease, what happens to your current demand? Your current demand decreases. It goes down. Is that clear, guys? Yes. Fine. That's future expectation. Usually we talk about future expectations. We talk about future price expectation. Is there another good that is very highly connected with this future price expectation? Can you all tell? What do you all think? There's another good that you all also use. Gold, okay, but there's another good that all of you all use. Highly connected with future price. Phones, exactly. Your mobile phones, right? When a new model comes, the current model will go down, right? Now, for someone who wanted to buy the iPhone 13, that person, what will he do? He will wait until the iPhone 14 comes, because he knows when the iPhone 14 comes, the 13 will get a little cheap, right? So that happens a lot, guys, right? So usually when you go to buy mobile phones, you see whether a new version is coming. New version is coming next month means I will wait a little. I will wait until that comes, because when that comes, the current version is going to go down. Price is going to go down. So if I want to buy the iPhone, let's say 14, maybe I will wait until next year a little, until the iPhone 15 comes, right? So the moment the 15 comes, the 14 will have a small drop. Then I would buy it, right? So that's how future expectations connect to this. Right? That also we are done. Right. The other points are very easy, guys, right? This point is the easiest point. The number of buyers, right? Yes, can you all tell me why are some yes, some there are some rich people anyway. When the mobile new model comes, they want that, right? Now, usually you have these iPhone users, right? So they buy the they buy the latest version, right? So there are people like that. They buy the 14. Now let's say the 15 comes next year, then they give off their 14, right? And they pay that additional amount, and then they get the 50. And so there are people like that as well. So maybe one day we will also be rich as that, but currently I don't know if you're rich as that. Great, I am not, right? Okay. Let's say number of buyers. Okay. Yes, can you all tell me, if the number of buyers increase, what would happen to the demand? Let's say the population has increased now, right? What do you think happens to demand? If the number of buyers, think this is easy. This is not that hard. What happens? Think as others, if the number of buyers increase, what happens? Demand will increase or decrease? Demand increases, right? Come on, now you have enough. Now, for example, let's say, right, now currently, there are around 100,000 students doing local A levels, commerce. Around 5,000 do it in English medium, right? So if you look at the buyers of my class, only 5,000 maximum, right? So let's say 10,000 people next year are doing English medium commerce. So if the number of people, right, number of buyers increase, the demand for my classes might go up, no? Now there are 5,000 people, this much people are there, right? So if you look at guys, English medium actual statistics, right, for the past few years, around 4,000 students do A-level English medium econ, right? So from the 4,000, around 2,000 go to classes, right? Some can't afford classes, right? All of that is there. Some learn from school itself. So around 2,000, 2,500 students go for English medium econ classes, right? So it's that 2,500 that gets divided among all the English medium econ teachers, which I am also a part of, right? So you might have so many English medium econ teachers, so everyone gets a share of that 2,500. But if you look at singular medium, the market is way bigger, right? You have around 80,000 people doing singular medium. That's why in some big singular medium classes, right, you will see some teachers with around 2,000, 3,000 students, right? They have huge numbers, right? So that is there. But English medium, the market is comparatively small. Person who bought Esplanade Ultra but got this one. What? Yeah. What is the phone that you use? There are people, guys. There are people sometimes, very good cameras and all of it, but still they can't get better pictures. That's that. They don't have the skill. Yeah. So if the number of buyers increase, guys, once again, the demand increases. And if the number of buyers decreases and goes down, let's say everyone has switched to single medium econ now, what would happen? The demand for my classes, demand would decrease, right? Demand decrease. Then that part is easy, guys. I don't think there is any big explanation needed there. We'll go into our last factor, guys. Right? Now, this I want you all also to practically think and give me some answers. Right? I am saying other factors. Can you tell me, apart from all what we have discussed, can you tell me some other factors that might affect the demand for some product? Any guesses? Give me anything. There are millions and millions of other factors. Okay, the climate, okay, the weather we'll say, right? Good. Okay. Now, for example, let's say now if the weather is, it's a very rainy period, right? So maybe the demand for umbrellas might go up. The demand for let's say ice cream might go down, right? The weather. Right? What else? Jersey, not really. Okay, natural disasters, okay, right? So maybe because of natural disasters it happens, right? But we'll see. Consumer expectations, I'll put it on the number 4 itself. Because we can give advertising, right? Don't you think advertising is a determinant? Usually when, demand, when advertisements increase, right? The more and more you advertise, the demand for the product increases, no? Right? Time period certain products, okay, but okay, what if I modify that? What if a season, right? Now, for example, you have seasons. Now, for example, you have the winter season. Now, during the winter cold season, you buy, all these jackets and all of that. Summer, when it's hot, you don't buy those. Okay, government rules and regulations, okay, right? Government, okay, let's say government policies, let's say things like taxes, right? We put those. Trends, yes, the trends will consider that as consumer taste and preference, and we'll put that under this. What else, guys? Yes, we can even give COVID-19, right? Now, for example, think, because guys, can you tell me, because of COVID-19, can you give me some products which the demand has increased because of COVID? Okay, masks, sanitizers. Okay, there's a product that we're using right now also. Why? Because of COVID, the demand for this had increased right now. To do this class we're using mobile phones. Okay, now there's a better one. Zoom. Think how we're doing this class. Before COVID-19, was there anyone? Did you all even know what Zoom was? No one knew what Zoom was. Zoom is also a product. Demand for Zoom increased because of COVID, right? Now, actually, guys, there was a very interesting story, right? Yes, have you all heard of Skype? Yes. Never heard of Skype? This whole video conferencing thing, Skype. Yeah. Now, Skype has been there in the market, right? Skype has been there in this online video conferencing market for around 15 years. Okay, I can't remember the exact number of years, but they have been there for at least 10, 15 years. Okay. When COVID came, that was the best instance to catch the market for video conference, right? Even though they have been there in the market for 10 to 15 years, at that right time, when the proper opportunity came, they were not able to capitalize. Zoom, on the other hand, was the one who capitalized on it. So there was Zoom, then there was Google Meets, Microsoft Teams. Those people also came out, right? But it's Zoom who actually capitalized, right, at that point. So can you see? It's not always about how experienced and how well you have been doing. At that moment, if you don't do the thing that is required, you might not be able to capture the market. Skype had 10 to 15 years experience in this video conferencing market. They knew everything about it, but at that right moment, they were not able to make use of it. So, right. Can you give me another example for a good that demand decreased because of COVID? Now, after COVID, you're not buying much of it. What can you say? Some good where the demand has decreased. Okay, street food, okay, to some extent. Mask demand has increased. I'm talking about a decrease. Okay, physical classes, okay, fine. Right. Maybe traveling. Because what do you think about office clothing? Think about now with how people work, most of it has become work from home and flexible, right? Now, the office that I work, remember I told you I do this econ related job and all, right? So in our office, we have to go to office only twice a week, right? Other days you can work from home. And that twice a week also, if you want to, you can stay at home as well. Right? So if you have anything, now these days I'm staying at home. This week I'm not going because I have some Sigma subjects to finish off, right? So because of this work from home and all of these concepts coming in, what happened to the demand for these office clothing? Would have gone down, right? Earlier people wore shirts and trousers and all of that went 5 days a week. But now some people are working from home. Some people are having flexible time. They're going for only like let's say 1 or 2 days a week, right? So remember, in these other factors, guys, I can't say that whether improves, demand increase, demand decrease. No, that will determine, that will be based on the type of the good, guys. Now, for example, if there is rainy weather, the demand for umbrellas will increase. Maybe demand for, let's say, what? Let's say ice cream might decrease. Right? Parents don't buy ice cream for their children now because it's rainy, it's too cold. They will get a flame and they will get all of it. They don't buy. So that, guys, you have to practically think what would happen based on the good that they give. That is why in this I'm not writing whether increase or decrease, right? Because that you have to practically think, guys. It depends on the type of the good and what is happening. Yes, demand for casual homeware would have increased definitely. Right now, even now, sometimes office meetings, right? Formal office meetings. I'm sometimes now even sometimes university presentations done online. I'm wearing this shirt and long sleeve shirt. Down I'm wearing a short and hoodie. right? That happens, right? Because in Zoom, you can't see what you're wearing down, right? That happens now, even office meetings, same story, right? I wake up, I do all of it, right? I am wearing like a, formal thing here and waiting, but, sometimes, down, I just wear a short. Why would I wear a iron a trouser and wear a trouser and wait when that cannot be even seen, right? So, those things have changed there, right? A lot of things. There are a lot of fun videos of Zoom classes also, right? Is that clear, guys? The determinants of demand. Yes, no, question, problems, issues. Different factors that affect the demand for a good. Now, this is the basics of this unit. So if I talk about this unit, guys, this unit has three main parts. One is demand, other one is supply, the other one is market equilibrium, where you put demand and supply together. So still we are in the first part because today was on the very first class where we learned demand. Okay. So any questions you can ask, guys, I'll clarify and then I'll give you all a small briefing and we can wrap things up. Other factors, so many other factors, right? I have just given you some examples. Right. Now, guys, most likely now I have not got your printed tutes yet from the printing place, right? So I should get it within the next 2-3 days, right? And I am guessing I will only be now if they give it to me by Friday or something, right? I might not be able to courier it on Friday itself, and then Monday is a holiday, so courier company doesn't work. So I'm guessing most likely I might be able to courier your printed unit number 2. I'm sending 2 and 3 together, right? So unit number 2 and 3 tube, I will most likely to be able to courier it for all those who have paid and registered is by next Tuesday, right? Because Monday is a holiday, right? So if I give it on Tuesday, some of you all might get it on Wednesday itself. So that means before the next class, you will have it. Some of you all, maybe Thursday, maybe Friday. It might take a few days sometime, right? But don't worry. Most likely by the end of next week, all of you all who have paid and registered should have a printed physical tute with you. So I'm printing it as a book. It has around 100 pages, a little bit more than 100 pages actually. It's a combination of unit number 2 and 3. So it's like a normal book that you will get, which you will be using for the next 2 to 3 months ideally, right? So with that, once again, guys, for those who are planning to start classes from November, it's an ideal time to start. We just started unit number 2. Is anyone who has not learned unit number 1, you were here today and you understood unit number 2? Yes. You did not learn unit number 1 ever. You had no idea, but you came today, you were listening. It made sense. Yes. No one like that? Yeah. Okay, there are a few people. Right. Good. Right. So see, that's the good news, right? Unit number 1 is not connected to unit number 2, guys. Right? So even though you knew nothing about unit number 1, you understood everything for unit number 2. So that's the good news. That's what you also realized today. So November is a good month to start, right? Yes, unit 2 is more interesting than unit 1 actually, right? So once again, for those who are starting from November, you can pay in the monthly fee, that is a 2,500, right? I'll put in my number also, guys. If you all want to, talk and have a chat, you can drop me a text on WhatsApp. This is 077 0566 014, right? So ideally, you can WhatsApp me on that, right? I'll give you all the details. So monthly fee is a 2,500. Printed tutes will be sent to your doorstep. So far I'm not charging additional printing charge, but if it gets expensive, I might. But the only charge right now is, apart from your class fees, is to pay the courier and collect it. That's all. All classes will be recorded, given on our website. So any class, even today's class, if you feel like you want to rewatch it, you can go back to our website, right? You get a username and a password. You enter the username and password. You log in, right? You can see that recording. You can catch up. You can watch any amount of time. All of that is possible. So on my end, this is how my usual classes work, right? and it's online. I don't do a physical class right now because I feel I don't have the time, because I don't want to full-time teach. I don't want to be that typical teacher personally, because I am actually working in an economics firm. I feel that exposure that I get from there is more important, actually very important for me to deliver this teaching, right? Because I am already involved with the current economic policies that happens, and different things that goes there. So I feel that I'm not gonna let that go. So that is a big advantage that I bring in. Especially this applies when it comes to the grade 13 syllabus. Now, grade 12 syllabus, we will talk about the theories. In grade 13 only, we will go into inflation, exchange rate, this international trade, right? What is the government doing with taxes, expenditure, right? So for those things, right, for those units especially, which we will learn next year most likely, or grade 13 syllabus, I feel that staying updated about what is happening is very important. I feel most teachers are not updated, because some teachers, that all what they do is just teach, right? All what they do is simply repeat what they taught the last year, they teach it this year. But a lot of things actually change, guys. With time, it changes. So I bring that into the table when it comes to those grade 13 units. Things get very practical. I will practically teach it to you what is happening in the country, right? And we will learn it. So that's about the classes, how it works, how it goes, right? You all could pay in and register from November onwards. You can purchase the unit 1 recordings and tutes if you want to catch up with unit number 1. I will help you all, right? Any questions, I will clarify. We can have Zoom sessions, and if you have any doubts, I can clarify. So don't worry, you're not behind yet, right? You can still catch up, you can still get things done and dusted. And also, as a policy, guys, anyone who pays and registers at the end of the month, if you're unsatisfied, if you think that you wasted your money by joining this class, I will give you a full money back refund, right? So because I know how hard it was for my parents to pay class fees, so I am not someone who would waste anyone's money, right? If you feel that after paying 2,500 at the end of November, you did not learn anything, this was really useless, right? I will not ask any questions. You drop me a text saying I want a refund, right? I will give you that refund. You can keep the tubes also, no problem at all, right? So that's how it works, because I firmly believe that I should not be wasting anyone's money, because that's not who I am, right? So that's it. My number is over here. If anyone wants to register, some of you all can register through iTutor if that's how you got the message from. That's my own institute. Some of you all would have got the message through Satya College, right? You can register through Satya College, but whatever said and done, the class is at the same time, and that's how it works. Okay. So hoping that I covered everything. For those who I will be seeing next week, right? Excited. And let's get things done, right? Island rank loading. See you guys. Have a nice week ahead. See you. Bye.